Good Thursday evening to you. I'm 5 News Chief Meteorologist Skot Covert tracking one more cold, warm morning before we can get some warmer weather to work into the area. Here's the impacts we're tracking tomorrow morning. It's going to be the wind chill and it's going to be the frost once more. We're talking wind chill values down into the 20s, mid-20s in some locations. We're going to want to bundle up, especially those kids heading to the bus stop tomorrow morning. There also could be some frost on the windshield. It's going to be a bit more widespread than it was, let's say, this morning. So if you park outside, you're going to want to maybe budget a couple of extra minutes into that morning routine to get that ice scraper out and get that off your windshield. Get to work on time. We start to warm up going into the next couple of days. Here's what's happening right now. Low pressure moving through the Great Lakes region. It swung us a cold front, moved through the area earlier today. On the backside of that front, look at those winds. They're coming in right out of the northwest. They've been breezy today. It's making it feel a little bit cooler than it actually is. That's the wind chill. It's been kind of biting at times. Those winds are going to relax overnight tonight. That's one of the reasons we expect some frost to develop out there. When those winds stay breezy, it keeps the air stirred up, a little bit mixing going on, which sometimes can help us avoid a frost. But in the absence of that, calm winds, frost is probably going to be a good bet for a lot of us. Feels like temperatures by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Look at this, down to 26 in places like Bentonville and Huntsville. Rogers, 28 in Fayetteville. Meanwhile, we've got some 30s, low 30s in the River Valley. It's going to be a bitter cold morning, one of the coldest we've seen this season long. By lunchtime, yeah, it's warming up. Beautiful Friday on tap. We're talking a lot of sunshine expected out there. Low 50s in the afternoon, low 40s in northwest Arkansas. So yeah, it's going to warm up, but still going to be one of those days, a lot like the last several, where you're going to want those long sleeves just about any point during the day. Maybe you hate the cold weather and you're not quite ready to put a fork in the warmer temperatures just yet. No worries. This weekend's for you. 65 Saturday, northwest Arkansas, 70 on Sunday. Of course, as always, a little bit warmer in the River Valley, mid 60s on Saturday, low 70s expected for high temperatures come Sunday. Perfect weekend to get out and about. Sure, the mornings are going to be on the cool side, but those afternoons, not bad at all. Watch for a few more clouds to build into the sky on Sunday. Those all in advance of our next weather system. It's a cold front. It's going to move through on Monday. It does drop our temperatures quite notably going into Monday and Tuesday. We're not talking abnormally cold temperatures. We're talking a lot like today. It's just normal old fall cool like temperatures. Not going to bring any rain with that front, but look at this one. I've fast forwarded to Wednesday of next week. Big travel week, right? Leading up to Thanksgiving. Got a warm front going to try to lift through the area. Winds will be out of the south behind that front. We could see some wet conditions on Wednesday. Chances are somewhat low, but I do believe there could be a few scattered showers around the area. Better odds going into Wednesday evening, going into really on Thursday. Now, before we go any further, in fact, I'm going to stand in front of this. You can't even look at it yet. You got to listen to me, okay? Before we go any further, I got to tell you, there is some discrepancy between the weather models. This is one of them that I'm going to show you that really thinks the bulk of that rain is going to come through on Thanksgiving. But there is another one. That says, maybe we can clear it out of the area a little bit earlier in the day. So maybe the entire Thanksgiving Thursday is not a washout. This one does show up some scattered showers, maybe some areas of thunderstorms out there as well. Going into lunchtime Thursday, a lot of folks gathering around the kitchen table to celebrate Thanksgiving. It could be wet. Some folks like to have Thanksgiving outside. There are years where its temperatures are so warm that that's a possibility. This is not going to be one of those. We're going to be in the 50s for the most part Thursday afternoon. Now, that front looks to push off towards the east. There is some questions as to when it pushes off towards the east, but it does certainly draw in some quieter weather behind it. One of the things we're going to be watching for is, and it's going to be a pretty common thing going into the winter months, sometimes you can get some wraparound moisture behind these areas of low pressure that, guess what, it meets up with that cool air that follows that front, and sometimes you can squeeze out a few flurries, some sleet pellets. Often there's not a lot of impact with those types of setups, but it is certainly something we're going to be looking at, especially as folks may be out there traveling in and around Thanksgiving. I'm not going to call for snow just yet. This is one model run. There's a lot of others that say, hey, nothing to worry about, but it is certainly something that has piqued my interest. Other than that, what's really got me focused in on the long-range weather model data is what happens after Thanksgiving. We're talking the 29th going into the first few days of December. It looks like we're seeing some strong signals of well below average temperatures in parts of the upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes region, even into the northeast part of the country. Here locally, eastern Oklahoma, west Arkansas, there's still a pretty strong signal that we're looking at some below average temperatures for at least that period of time. Question is, when does it warm up at that point? So if you don't like the cold, I'm afraid to tell you, in the long range, it's probably going to get even colder. Here's your forecast. 27 degrees under a frosty Friday morning, warming up to a mild 56 under lots of sunshine. Saturday, most of Sunday, probably going to see more sunshine than anything else. Watch for some clouds to build in on Sunday as that southerly wind draws in not only warmer temperatures, but of course that also comes with a little bit more humidity as well. And you might notice there's something new there on Monday. I've added a 10% chance of a very spotty shower. Look, it's not going to be a big deal, but it is a possibility given that increase in moisture out there. Tuesday looks fine for those traveling on Tuesday. By Wednesday, 30% chance of a stray shower, 40% chance on Thursday. It looks like the model day is starting to come into better agreement, so don't be surprised if I don't have to raise those percentages over the next day or so. If you're making plans, you certainly want to account for that. At any rate, it is going to be cooler next week, but when I say cooler, I don't mean below average. We're going to be normal temperatures for next week. It's what follows in the days after Thanksgiving that looks like we're going to swing that pendulum the other direction, well below average for this time of the year. All right, now that is a check of your 5+ forecast. We'll see you right back here for another edition of 5+ weather here tomorrow.